waddle. That's also what people do if they've got a big fat butt. Good morning, mushrooms, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, brothers, sisters, mothers, misters, and to all my cousins out there around the world. It's time to plug in and get this news train chugging. The women who are caught up in Asia's punitive drug wars. Yes, the women who are caught up in, they are entangled, ensnared, involuntarily involved in these drug wars. Punitive is related to, look at that, puny, punishment. And so it's related to punishment, and in these drug wars, they're intending to punish people as strong as possible. And these women are caught up in it. They are entangled in it. They cannot get out. They didn't want to be there. They just got stuck against their own will. Hold the world's biggest proportions of female prisoners, and many of those women are actually victims because, well, due to unfortunate economic circumstances or otherwise, they've been forced into bad situations, or maybe even sold into negative situations, and then they get caught up in them, like the headline up above, and they're unable to get out. But with proportions, we're comparing one number against a larger number, and so in this case, the percentage of female prisoners is some of the highest in the world. Much of the rest of the world, because we know men are more violent than women. The vast number of people incarcerated as a proportion or percentage of the whole is definitely distinctly leans towards the male gender. However, in Southeast Asia, the proportions are much higher. All right, out of Southeast Asia and on back to the sort of, well, never-ending election cycles in the U.S. Kamala Harris responds to Trump's birther attacks. Now, if you look up birther, it's a painter paints, a teacher teaches, a birther births. No, that's not how it goes. Because her mother is from India and he's now challenging her birth certificate and where she was born, because if she is vice president, she's number 2 in line to take the presidency should something happen to Joseph Biden. He is questioning where she was born and whether or not she would even be eligible to take over the presidency should the need be. Democrats fight back in the Postal Service showdown with Trump. A showdown is the final competition, the final battle between two individuals to finally decide who will triumph, who will be the victor, who will win. And so there's going to be a big showdown with several past episodes with the various attacks on the Postal Service and lawyers mobilizing for all-out war. The final showdown. Now, this will be dragged out for ages and ages. Schiff, Adam Schiff, he says it is a shocking betrayal of democracy. To betray someone or to betray their trust is to often give information to the enemy and thus basically selling out your friend, or then it as well could be acting against your own beliefs and values in order acting against your personal values and beliefs for gain, for your own personal gain. And so basically selling yourself, selling your soul for something else, to betray someone or to betray something. Democracy in this case. On to Central European news, or you could say Eastern European news. On to Belarus. Angry workers heckled Lukashenko. I almost said centuries, decades-long dictator of Belarus. And so in Minsk, he was giving some speech, and angry workers started heckling him. If you are a fan of stand-up comedy, you know this word, and that's when people interrupt whoever is performing in order to make criticisms or jokes at the performer's expense. And so they're interrupting whatever performance or speech the intended speaker was giving. And so they're heckling him, saying, "Yeah, nice shirt." I don't know. Good luck, Belarus. I'm on your side. Moving on. Wall Street is bracing for a rocky U.S. election. So yes, the stock market doesn't know what to make of this situation, how to read it. They don't know what's going to happen, and instability is never good for the markets, right? And so they're bracing for it. They're holding on to stuff because it's going to be a rocky election, implying a rocky road. And if a road is rocky, it's going to be a bumpy ride. So you got to hold on to things and brace yourselves. And so probably transferring assets from things that could be affected by instability into things which are more stable. I'm not really sure what are the most stable investments at this point in time, and I'm sure there's countless people that would tell you a number of different things. Europe wants to tax emissions from ships. The emissions, The pollution, the exhaust from the engines, the smoke, the smog that comes out of the ships as they burn petroleum or other fossil fuels in order to make the ships go forward. But emissions coming from to emit, and that means to give off, just like stars emit heat and light, nuclear reactions emit radiation and other energy. US cities showcase a deadly new reality. Now, a showcase is literally like a case which is designed to show things, often covered with glass on the top. Maybe there might be some jewelry inside, so that way then you can see it. They are displaying it. There's a good synonym. Displaying a deadly new reality. It's funny because showcases usually used for positive things, beautiful things that other people might want to buy, not situations that people want to live in. But hey, that's the juxtaposition of the positive and the negative together, and that's what makes for interesting headlines, right? And so just like I showcase the grammar and vocabulary from the news headlines, they're showcasing a deadly new reality of violence and pandemic, disease, destruction. Good luck out there, everybody. Stay safe. And here we go. Yes, Biden was off and projected through the polls and surveys that exist and have been conducted with like an easy 10-point lead. But apparently in their matchup, because they're being matched against each other, they're competing against each other in this showdown for the presidency. Yes, Biden's lead is tightening. Now we got the adjective tight. Add an en, it means to make more, whatever that adjective. Lighten, darken, widen, strengthen. Well, strength is a noun, but either way, you get the point. The gap between them is tightening. It's getting narrower and narrower. Programs, series, movies, theater, all of them are roles, and then we play them. We're just pretending to be those people. We are playing those roles. That's it. Easy peasy. Let's move on to some legal terminology. We see the charges all the time, the legal complaints against somebody. People will first make an accusation or an allegation, then they will file charges with the district attorney or the police or somebody. And however, this person, this black reporter who was covering a white supremacist rally, arrested him for some reason, and now they realize that, oops, we made a mistake, and so they're just dropping the charges, and so the court case will not move forward. They're no longer pressing charges against that reporter. On to Australia and tech news. Google's clash with Australian regulators is heating up. It's escalating. It's getting hotter and hotter, more and more intense, because when things are heating up, it's getting more intense, because when we're tense, we're hot. But a clash is a short, impromptu sort of battle or fight or argument or spat or quarrel. And yes, Australian regulators are going after Google legally for being a trust or having some sort of monopoly on things, from what I understand. After 17 surgeries and 21 months on the sidelines, an NFL star nears return. He's getting closer to coming back, and I forgot to highlight that, and I wanted to, because near, we know that as a preposition, meaning close to. Right now, I'm very near the camera, yeah? But too near something means to get closer to it, to approach, yeah? His return to the field, because he has been on the sidelines. That's just a common sports idiom for somebody who's not in the game. Yeah, even your boss in a meeting, he might not let you participate in the meeting and keep you outside in the lobby on the sidelines. And so to be sidelined as a verb, or to be on the sidelines, means you're not actively participating in the game or the negotiations or the business or whatever might be going on. As always, sports infiltrating our daily lives. Are you butting heads with your child's grandparents? And so I like this idea, because to butt heads with somebody or to headbutt somebody is when you take your head and you hit them with it like that. And so I don't think that people are actually, and it's your child's grandparents, so that means your parents. And I don't think anyone's actually physically headbutting their parents, but as a phrase, it means disagreeing about things. Because as we know, the generation older than us are much more commonly prone to ideas that COVID doesn't exist, masks don't help, etc., etc., misguided beliefs about the world. And so we might be disagreeing with them, not physically butting heads once again. And just a nice phrase with make, because we have make and do. And with make, we make friends, we make enemies, and we can make peace with the enemies to make up with them, right? And because with make, it's something that you have to create. It doesn't just happen, and it's not something you can just tick off a list. It requires effort. A packed party at a Georgia college. If something is packed, it is full. Now, I saw a picture, and it was a lot of people outside because it's probably hot and humid, so they weren't in the house, packed in there like sardines in a can. However, there were many people packed together. They were all close together. There were little to no masks on the students. It's just a nice phrase that I like, and we use it for many different things when it means almost nothing. Little to no. At the end of the day, I have little to no patience for. Sharon Stone blames people for her sister's COVID-19 diagnosis, right? To blame somebody for something. She is blaming people that won't wear masks. She's accusing them of that. She's putting the blame on them. It is their fault. She's attributing the fault to them. Yeah, all right, whatever. But to blame people for something. Nudity, sex, but no foam parties. Hedonism 2 adapts to the pandemic era. Hedonism 2? I guess there was a Hedonism 1. Are they talking about a movie, a play? I don't really know. But we just have a dependent preposition here. Adapt to the pandemic era. We can also, here we got the era, that's a noun, adapt to the noun, but we can also adapt to activities. And so then it would be an ing. Adapt to living in the countryside. Once again, the juxtaposition of to and then followed by a gerund, which often confuses learners because when they think of a to, then they want the infinitive, but no, it doesn't always work that way because English is weird. Moving on to another dependent preposition. That's 3 in a row. We had blame for, adapt to, and now how a Scottish school has prepared for children's return to school. So, yes, to blame someone for something, to adapt to something or to doing something, and now to prepare for something. Yeah, dependent prepositions, that's all. Prepositions, you can find logic in any sort of aspect of them, and that's why it's important to just learn it, know it, love it, live it, internalize that. People will understand you, however, it can cause confusion at times, and so pay attention to your prepositions. Is it about what comes after it, or is it about what comes before it? It's about that active induction, be it auditory or visual data. Explore the language. Get your hands dirty. Get your fingers in there and really actively think about it. Don't just say, "Oh, I get it," and keep moving. You gotta pick it apart, like these headlines. Moving on. Reopening schools may teach Boris Johnson a cruel lesson about COVID. Cruel means heartless and enjoys seeing damage and pain and suffering in other people. Completely lacking or devoid of empathy or sympathy, and maybe even taking joy in the pain and suffering of other people. Cruel lesson. What do you know? Another dependent preposition. Violent crime rises as confidence in police sinks. How did I not highlight that? I don't know. Yes, if it's sinking, it's going down. Just like if you drop a stone into some water, it will bloop, sink to the bottom. You can be confident in yourself, confident in other people because they are trustworthy. You know that you can count on them, you can depend on them, and so you can be confident in their willingness to help you out or whatever it may be. That's it. I'm stretching it too far. Let's move on. Is COVID-19 making travelers unruly? The virus isn't doing that. It's making people die. It's making people sick. It's not making people unruly. Think about it. Ruly. If you just, thinking about the rules. If you are unruly, it means that you are unwilling to follow the rules, but especially in a belligerent and disagreeable sort of way. Much like drunk tourists not obeying the local restrictions about making noise or something along those lines. An unruly crowd stampeding into the Best Buy for Black Friday sales, fighting each other for televisions and other things. On to the English countryside. And how do I know it's the countryside? Because it says rural English road. Rural means the countryside. It's the opposite of urban. We have rural, country, urban, city. Ta-da! But the police picked up a penguin. Did they arrest him? I don't know. It'd be difficult to put the handcuffs on him, I think, because he just has the flippers or fins or modified wings. But they picked up a penguin, which was found waddling along a rural English road. To waddle, it's just a great way for a specific type of walk that they do. They don't bend at their knees, and they just kind of teeter-totter back and forth like that and waddle. That's also what people do if they've got a big fat butt, basically. To waddle like a penguin, like a duck. Back implies this back and forth movement while moving forward in a not so graceful manner. The horizon is where the land meets the sky, yeah? And so often we see storm clouds looming on the horizon. They're coming this way. If something is looming, remember it's threatening. It's foreboding. It's threatening with danger, etc. But if something is just on the horizon, it means that you can see it. It's still far away, but it's coming our way. On to some other sort of football news. In U.S. football news, where they call it soccer, FC Dallas, the team and the league, have condemned, remember that means to criticize something, but especially on moral or ethical grounds, because it goes against what is right in the world. And so, just another word, if something is appalling, it's shocking, but in that moral, it makes your gut sort of turn like that. And so condemn it, the appalling and repulsive racist comments. Repulsive, by putting these two together, it's damn near redundant in a way, but if something is repulsive, it's disgusting. It makes your stomach turn for sure. And it comes from the idea of repel. Just like if you have two magnets and you try to put the two positive signs together, they repel each other. They push away from each other. And so if something is repulsive, you want to back away from it. Because we can threaten someone with blah, blah, blah. We can threaten to do something. Or then you can make threats, here with it as a noun, to make threats against somebody. The Price is Right host shows off his new look. And so if you're showing something off, you're trying to share it with other people so that way then they can appreciate it because you are proud of it, whatever. In this case, now, show off, of course, has different meanings like most phrasal verbs. If some people show off because they are proud or maybe overly proud, it's almost like bragging to show off how much better you are than someone else. But no, he's just proud and he just wants other people to appreciate it. I'm guessing. I don't know. The famous hippie sandals made of leather and then a cork with some rubber on the bottom. People live and die by their sandals. They get them resold because they're all just beautiful and they don't want to give them up or throw them away. Why? Why are they so successful? I don't know. You're going to have to read the article, I guess. But the enduring. We got the No, it's about duration. And so if something is enduring, it's lasting for a long period of time. The enduring myth about the flat earth. The enduring appeal of these sandals, the enduring success. It's been going. They haven't hardly changed their product for like 50 years. However, it's still successful. People still love them, etc. It just keeps going on. Why? Trump is starving the post office. He's not keeping food away from them, obviously, but he's starving them of cash. He's cutting off their funding. He's reduced their funding to the point where they can't function. And actually even removing machinery from post office so they can't sort the mail, therefore delaying its delivery in order to cast doubt upon mail-in voting and whether or not it would even be possible. On to conspiracy theories. Yes, Trump and the GOP have been buying into, or at least sort of embracing and using and abusing this QAnon conspiracy theory. As we had last week, it is completely baseless. There is no evidence. It has been refuted countless times. However, people all around the U.S. have been buying into it and believing it for some reason. And now Trump and the GOP are embracing it, and they're heading into the sewer. As we had last week, to head for something, if we're going somewhere, we follow our head. Yeah? And so they're heading into the sewer. Those are the pipes underneath the road where the rainwater and when you flush the toilet, the poop goes. And so if you're in the sewer, going into the sewer, you're in a bad, bad place. In a dirty, dirty place where only rats and disease and other things live. And so it's a nice little metaphor for a very negative position to take. Yeah? And so get your mind out of the gutter and stay out of the sewer. However, thanks to everybody out there for the likes, the follows, the subscribes, etc. Please do pass this on to a friend. Help make this world a better place whilst improving its ability to communicate. And so, if I don't see you sooner, 8 p.m. tomorrow, as you know, have a beautiful day and start to your week. Bye-bye. Yes, stop the stream.